Hmm. There you are. Hey, man. Pull up a chair. Glad to see you back here. Um, you know, you go through different things, and as you write them all down in there, and as you write them down, you try and get the figure of things. Like the last one I had was the phone call, and um, that was one of those, probably the one that most affected me the most, and that's why it was the first story that I put out. There's a few others, but for other reasons. Um, this one is called "Things That Go Bump in the Night." It's you never know what you're walking into as a police officer, especially as you're coming through on nights. Days is a little different. Nights is a completely different animal. So, on the things that go bump in the night, my partner and I were sent to a noise complaint, and we're like, all right, not my sector, so I'm the backup officer. Thank God, and for obvious reasons you'll see here in a minute. Get out of the squads, and you park a half a block away, and we could hear the noise complaint. And so we have to walk up the street, and it's pretty dark out, and it's probably about 2:30 in the morning, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. It's after bar time, so you get up there, and you can just hear the. And so I'm like, well, we know what apartment that is. We find the building and go on the door. You got the buttons that are on there, so you got to push it. We knew what apartment that they were in, so obviously we didn't push that one in to let us in. And the door that we buzzed, or the button that we pushed, they buzzed us in, and we walked down the hallway. And as you walk down the hallway, it's like a normal apartment hallway, but you've got two doors on each end. You've got two doors on your left and on your right, and then at the far end of the hallway, you got one on your left and on your right, and then the stairs that go up on that far side to get you out to the parking lot. So, let me just pull this around here just so I can talk a little better. So, we walk down there, and it's, you can hear it. It's really kind of funny listening to it as it's going on. Like, all right, here we go. So, as I said, I'm the backup officer, and walk up to the door. My partner knocks on the door. Bang, 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 bang. Police department. Bang, 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 bang. Police department, come to the door. Nothing. He looks back at me, and I'm like, keep knocking, man. I said, because we really can't go until the music's off. So he knocks on the door again. Bang, 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 bang. A little louder. Police department. And finally, you hear, huh? Police department. Okay, hold on a minute. You can hear the music cut, and comes up to the door, and the door opens. And so as I'm facing down the hallway, he's on the door the door that we're touching is on my left side, and my partner is like directly in front of me, and I'm like 6-8 feet behind him, and he identifies himself. He says, Officer so and so, Waukesha Police Department. We're here for the music. And the guy's like, oh man, I'm so sorry about that. And my partner kind of steps back, and this guy steps forward, but the appendage that beats him across the door frame is a full-blown erection. And I'm looking down like this, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. No way. And I'm looking down, and I look up at my partner, and my partner is completely oblivious to it. And I'm like, I can see this thing from frickin', 6-8 feet away, and it's literally like sticking out of the doorway, and I cannot see him. Well, then he kind of comes forward a little bit, and I can see the rest of him. And then he steps back, and trust me, I am sitting there. I am pissing my pants. I'm leaning up against the wall. I'm like, there's no way this is happening. There's no way this is happening. And there's no way that he cannot not see this. So I'm like, dude, in my head, I'm saying it, but I'm not saying anything because I'm enjoying this. I think this is the funniest thing in the world. So as he's talking, so this is my partner's leg right here. And as he's talking, this manhood, as he's talking, it's coming through, and it's almost bumping him in the leg, and then not, almost bumping in the leg, and not. And I'm like I'm like, dude, you gotta look. And he looks back at me. He's like, yeah, get a load of this guy. I'm like, oh no, if you're not careful, you're gonna get a load of that guy. All right. So just, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I said nothing. So the guy invites us in. We go in there and do a quick, getting ready to do a security sweep of the premises, make sure that there's nobody in there. And is there anybody here with you? And he's like, well, I'm like, God, I hope so. Cause if he's just walking around in this stage with a raincoat on and full blown manhood, that's a little strange. He's like, oh yeah. He says, I picked up a girl tonight and she's in the bedroom. I'm like, ma'am? She's like, yes. I'm like, can you come out here, please? And she's like, okay, just let me get dressed. I said, when you come out, A, make sure you're dressed, please. And B, just let me see your hands. I said, I don't want any surprises out here. And I'm thinking to myself, because we've already had one surprise. And I don't know what we're going to do if we have two surprises. So she comes out and she's not, how would you say, embarrassed about this. I'm like, come on, man, are you serious? And she's like, nah. I was like, oh yeah, he says on and on. I just happen to look down and my buddy looks down. He's got some herbs sitting there in a pipe. And I'm like, you know what? We'll just make this easy. We'll call this off. We'll hook him up for possession of drug paraphernalia. We ran him. You see if he had any convictions before on it. No convictions on it. So we're going to give him a muni citation for it because Waukesha decriminalized it. And at least give you one kick at the cat before they slam you on a misdemeanor for possession of drug paraphernalia. So we hook him up, and I'm like looking at him, and I follow him into the bedroom and make sure he can get his jeans on. He gets his jeans on, and he doesn't remove the Jimmy cap. I'm like, what? You gotta be kidding me, man. So he's got his pants on, and pick him up. Or I should say, hook him up, put him in cuffs, make sure that they're safety locked, and search him and send him to arrest. And my partner, who is the primary officer here, walks him out to the car. So the girl that is there, or the woman that's there, I said, here's what's going to happen. I said, we're going to take him down to the police department. I said, we're going to issue him a citation. We'll book him, and then it's probably, because we're not really busy tonight, it's probably going to be about maybe an hour and a half, depending, all said and done, getting through. And there might be one or two people, because I got the radio in my ear, so I can hear a couple of calls. I'm not sure if anybody's going to be coming back with somebody that's under arrest. So I said, yeah, probably about an hour and a half. So if you can swing down and pick him up, in about an hour and a half or so, 90 minutes, hour and a half. I said, that would be great. And she goes, no. I said, what do you mean, no? She's like, no, I'm not picking him up. I said, well, okay. Can I ask why? And she's like, oh yeah, you can ask why. And I said, well, why? She said, that's my boyfriend's best friend. I'm like, okay. What happened? And she's like, he just pissed me off tonight, and I knew that his friend was going to be out at the bar, so I went to the bar that he was at and started talking to him, and just started, A plus B equals C, and that's how we ended up here. And so she said, well, I'm not mad at my boyfriend anymore, but I'm not coming to pick this guy up. I said, you got to be kidding me. She's like, no. She's like, I'm going to grab my stuff and head out. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to wait for you to leave then, because I don't want to be accused or have her be accused of stealing anything, especially when there's a police officer sitting right next to her. So she gathers her belongings. She gets out. I follow her out. She gets in her car. And I said, you sure you don't want to come pick him up? She's like, nope, absolutely not. Drives off. So I'm like, okay. Get back to the police department. I come in and go through the booking, and I'm like, hey, the arresting officer, like, is she coming to pick him up? And I said, nope. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I explained it to him. He's like, oh, you're effing kidding me, man. I said, no. I said, it's kind of comical. So we're just kind of snickering a little bit, like, oh man, what a way to get busted, so to speak. And then so I tell the booking officer, I said, okay, he's going to be hold till sober HTS. And then I said, once that's done, you can cut him loose. And the booking officer was like, okay. And I said, oh, before you take him to the cell for a good night's rest, so to speak, I said, make sure that he removes his raincoat. What are you talking about? I said, when we arrested him, he had a rubber on, and he never took it off when he slid himself inside of his jeans. So he probably still has it on, and I just don't want him to choke on it or whatever it is if he tries to hurt himself, and especially if I know he's wearing a raincoat and all that stuff. And the booking officer's like, "You've got to be kidding me." I'm like, "Nope." So, it gets done, all said and done, and as it's going through, the booking officer has him remove it. He's no hands on, no officer assisted removal of said raincoat. I got this later on, and so you go through, and I'm just dying. I mean, I think this is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my whole life. And again, my partner was completely oblivious to it, and we finally get out, and then it's like lunchtime. We end up having lunch at the same time. And I'm like, "Dude," he's like, "What?" I go, "Did you not see that guy's boner?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "When we were in a hallway, he had a massive hard on, and he's almost banging it off your thigh, and you didn't even see it." He's like, "Are you serious?" I go, "Dude, I wouldn't fuck with you like that." I said, "I'm telling you." I said, "He is sitting there, and somebody was happy to see you, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't him." And you know what they say? They have a stiff member has no conscience. And he's like, "Seriously?" I wish we had body cams. I wish we had body cams, because this would be one of those things that we would be playing at the Christmas party that we would have there. And yes, I know that there is video of me that have been shown at the Wausau Christmas parties. I'm fully aware of that. And again, that was an equipment malfunction that's on that, and that's for a later show. But this is just one of those calls that you go on where you're expecting a noise complaint turns into a how would you say, a fifth appendage helper that's out there. And you know, you never know how it's going to go. But as I say, you know, tell the story, preserve the lesson. See you guys next time.